Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1706 of What You Up To Now, documenting the journey, business journey, transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business, back in 2017 now, to the online world of business, and back and forth again. So today, a couple pieces of content I've put out there and created are the topic of ethics, communication ethics. We're focusing on communication in this month's annual challenge. For this month, we're focusing on different areas and aspects of communication. And today's topic is ethics, which is an interesting one to talk about because basically it's not whether ethics are good or bad in our opinion. It's, are we behaving in alignment with our morals and our values and our ethics? If we're in alignment, that's ethical behavior. If we're not in alignment, that's unethical behavior, which is a different way of approaching the topic than most people would think about it. Most people think about right and wrong, and if you're sharing information in a way that's right and right, accurate, truthful, factual information, that would be ethical. Sharing the opposite would be unethical then. So, interesting way to look at it, and I think it's obviously I get tongue-tied about this topic because I think of ethics as business ethics, doing the right thing in given situations. But right, of course, is relative. What's right to you might not be right to me, and vice versa. So we have to remember that a lot of times when we see businesses doing things like the media, presenting things that are absolute made up manipulation, they're actually doing what's right in their mind and ethical in their mind to do what's right for their stakeholders and their business owners, etc. Even though we know that what they're presenting is untruths and misinformation. And, you know, their mission has definitely changed from reporting the news, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and the facts, and sharing the facts and having people think for themselves. And their mission has definitely changed to manipulating and impacting how people think and what they believe. And marketers do it all the time. We focus on the things we want people to think about, what we want them to believe. We want to open their eyes and help them see things the way we see things in order to convince them to buy our products and services. So ethics, interesting, really interesting topic. You know, I had business law and business ethics, and as an engineer, what's ethical design, etc. And so, and I went to journalism school back in the day when journalism was still based on information being correct. And so it's a tough topic for me. Our topic and our idiom to coincide with communication this month for Supersize Your Business is beat about the bush. And we've talked about beat around the bush before, and beat about the bush pretty much means the same thing. It's to not get to the point. It's to focus on unimportant little things before we get to the real point. Usually because we're talking about an embarrassing or difficult situation. Sometimes we have to give people feedback about something. If you've ever been a leader in any organization, you know, sometimes that's not comfortable, especially depending on what the feedback is or what the information is that you're required to share. I remember one of my first jobs in corporate America, we had an individual who had really horrendous body odor, and it ended up being my job to communicate this to that person. And that was a situation where I definitely beat about the bush. I didn't just say, hey, you stink, we need to do something about it. I had to find a way to present that and communicate that in a way that didn't hurt his feelings, but also respected that other people were having a problem with this particular characteristic of a person. So sometimes we have to talk about embarrassing or difficult situations, and we have to find the best way to do that. So I will be the first to admit sometimes I beat about the bush before just going in for the direct kill, you know, or the direct information. Use it in negotiations, use it in communicating messages, we use it in marketing all the time to get to the point in a way that doesn't necessarily upset people or hurt their feelings or embarrass them. If you embarrass somebody, they're not going to do business with you, right? If you hurt somebody's feelings, or if they feel like you've harmed them in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to do business with you or even want to be around you as a person. So we have to beat about the bush sometimes. This Facebook, I record my videos on Facebook, and this particular page that I record on is changing to the new format tomorrow or the next day, probably tomorrow. And I will admit, I'm not delighted about it because it changes the way I have to do things, but like everything else that happens and changes, I will figure it out. I don't think I'm going to go to StreamYard yet. I don't really want to have to add a whole nother step to the process of how I personally do things, but I do know that it's going to be more challenging for me. You probably won't even notice, but it'll be more challenging for me. Or you'll notice that my videos are really, really bad because they are totally just processed and not edited. My biggest challenge is how do I share them and not lose them in the Facebook stream of the new page format, because the page format changes are perfect for Facebook, and I get why they're making those decisions for their business model, but they are not great for the person that's creating and has pages on Facebook. The reason I record on my Facebook page is because it was easy to share and post that to my different groups and pages. Now they've made that virtually impossible. So well, I don't know how to edit it and share them the way that I used to. So it's impossible for me right now, but it won't be impossible tomorrow. All right, if I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Bye.